So hello, everybody. Thanks very much for joining. As mentioned, my name is David Svab. I'm one of the directors working in the dispute resolution branch here at the Canadian Transportation Agency. As mentioned, the presentation will be conducted in a bilingual format with simultaneous interpretation services readily accessible. During the session, I'll guide you through the presentation content, addressing key points, and at the end, as Judy also mentioned, we'll be happy to address any questions that you may have, and I'll turn to my colleague, Paul Kelly, to lead the question and answer period. So with that, we'll proceed and make the most of this informative session, and thank you again for your attention. Next slide, please. So today I'll be speaking about general developments regarding the Government of Canada's Budget Implementation Act 2023 and key amendments which will impact how the Canadian Transportation Agency processes complaints between air passengers and airlines. The new procedures for handling complaints, along with the agency's strategy on processing current files under the new procedures that take effect September 30th, the agency's new e-services portal, which has been designed to provide more efficient complaint management for airlines and passengers. Additionally, we'll advise you on some key updates that are taking place to the agency's automated intake form, which is how passengers submit their complaints online with the agency. And lastly, we'll be advising you of the guidance and support that will be available during this upcoming transition period while you and your employees onboard to the e-portal. Next slide, please. So as you may be aware, on June 22nd, 2023, the Canadian Government's Budget Implementation Act 2023, or the BIA, was passed by Parliament. Budget 2023 outlined several priorities which have impacts for the Canadian Transportation Agency. And some of these changes are clarifying and strengthening the air passenger protection regime, changing the agency's business model for air passenger complaints, and we'll talk about how we're doing this in the coming slides. And lastly, implementing a cost recovery regime. So I was just going to wrap up that slide by reflecting that in cases where the cause of a flight disruption is at issue, the airlines will bear the responsibility for proving their claim. So we'll go to slide 4, please. The Canadian Transportation Agency is actively engaged in modifying the Air Passenger Protection Regulations, or APPR, to align with recent legislative changes. The goal is to ensure a swift implementation of these changes for the benefit of air passengers, airlines, and the agency. The consultation period for the proposed amendments to the APPR concluded on August 10th, 2023. The agency obtained valuable insights from various stakeholders, including passengers, airlines, and industry experts. Further consultations are planned after the publication of the draft regulations in Canada Gazette Part 1 this fall. There will be an opportunity to review and comment on the draft regulations before they're finalized. They will then be approved by the agency and cabinet and then published in the Canada Gazette Part 2. Today, our focus will be on delivering insights about the complaints process and the forthcoming APPR modifications. It's important to note that discussions related to cost recovery are beyond the scope of today's session. Nevertheless, we wanted to inform you that consultations regarding the implementation of the cost recovery regime are scheduled for the upcoming fall as well. We strongly encourage all stakeholders to actively participate in these discussions and share their valuable feedback during that time. Next slide. The upcoming date of September 30th, 2023 marks a fairly significant milestone as several key amendments of the Act come into force. One of the amendments involves the revamp of the current air dispute resolution process. The existing three-tiered system encompassing facilitation, mediation, and adjudication is being streamlined into a more integrated mediation decision system. The primary aim here is to enhance the efficiency and the expediency of resolving air passenger complaints. Another amendment pertains to the modifications of the APPR, and these modifications will be rolled out once the regulatory process is duly completed. The modifications to the APPR will play a pivotal role in improving the overall air travel experience for passengers. These amendments reflect our commitment to bettering passenger experiences and ensuring a balanced approach to air travel regulations. As these changes unfold, we invite you, as always, to stay engaged, provide input, and participate in the ongoing dialogues and consultations. Next slide, please. So let's delve into the key amendments of the Canada Transportation Act related to the air disputes process. So the BIA requires that air carriers establish their own complaint process along with specifying response times. The majority of air carriers already have done this, and so this shouldn't represent a significant change. Section 85.02 designates the agency staff as complaint resolution officers. Unlike in the previous process, where decisions were made by a panel of governor and council appointed members, this change designates agency staff who have been specifically appointed to serve as resolution officers. The Act lays down eligibility criteria for complaints to be considered under the new process. By setting clear criteria, the system can focus on addressing valid concerns while streamlining the resolution process. The Act also grants the agency specific order powers and sets out, in the law, the reverse onus that applies to air carriers where the cause of a flight disruption is at issue. This empowers the agency to issue orders, enhancing its ability to ensure fair resolutions while maintaining accountability among carriers. With respect to confidentiality, the Act states that this process is a confidential process. However, this has to be read in conjunction with Section 85.14, as certain aspects of each order will be published. In terms of guidelines, Section 85.12 introduces the power to make procedural and interpretive guidelines for the air travel complaint resolution process. These guidelines aim to ensure a fair and unbiased resolution process for both passengers and air carriers. And as referenced previously, there are key parts of an order that will be published on our website in accordance with 85.14, and this includes flight date, number, categorization, and the order, refund, compensation, etc. With respect to cost recovery, the Act introduces the concept of cost recovery within the context of air dispute resolution. This provision lays the groundwork for discussions on fees and charges, which will be addressed through consultations in the future. And with respect to coming into force, the amendments as stated in Section 474 of the BIA are set to come into force according to a specified timeline, which we now know to be September 30th. Next slide, please. So next, we'll walk you through the streamlined air disputes resolution process that will enhance the way that passenger complaints are addressed. So step one is the complaint submission. The process begins with passengers submitting their complaints through our user-friendly online system. This streamlined online platform allows passengers to voice their concerns, and it also prompts them for specific information and required documents, making it easy to identify the issue. Step two is where the complaint process starts. And once a complaint is accepted as filed, the agency initiates the process by issuing a start notice to the passenger and the airline involved. In step three, the airline answer and passenger reply stage, this step involves a structured process in which the airline and passenger can submit their perspectives and evidence on the record using the new e-services portal. The airline is given 14 days to review the complaint and provide a comprehensive response. At this point, the airline has the option to directly settle settle the complaint with the passenger. The passenger's consent is essential for the case to be closed at this stage. Alternatively, if the airline decides to defend its position, it will need to present its evidence and arguments in response to the complaint. The passenger is then offered the opportunity to reply via the portal within a timeframe of 4 days. This balanced approach ensures that both the airline and the passenger have the chance to present their perspectives in a timely manner. Next slide, please. Step 4 is the eligibility review. In this stage, the complaints resolution officer undertakes a comprehensive review of the complaint to determine its eligibility for further action. The officer will assess whether the case meets the necessary criteria for moving forward. If found eligible, the case advances to informal resolution or mediation. Conversely, if deemed ineligible, the officer has the authority to refuse to proceed with the case. It's important to note that the airline's obligations under the tariff and other relevant conditions are considered during this stage. Step 5 is informal resolution or mediation. If the complaint is deemed eligible, the agency initiates a voluntary mediation attempt in collaboration with the passenger and the airline. If successful, the complaint is withdrawn, signifying a satisfactory resolution. If mediation does not yield the desired outcome, the process advances to the final decision stage. It's important to note that this step is entirely voluntary and will only be attempted if both the airline and the passenger agree. Step 6 is the final decision. And in this stage, it marks the conclusion of the process, culminating in a final and binding decision. The complaints resolution officer analyzes the case to make a final decision, which can then result in an order or a dismissal. The officer examines whether the airline fulfilled its obligations and if remedies such as compensation, refunds, or reimbursements are warranted. So to recap, the goal is that these steps provide a structured and fair framework for resolving air passenger complaints. The process aims to ensure passenger satisfaction while considering the airline's obligations. As we've walked through these steps, it's evident that the process is designed to provide clarity, transparency, and a timely resolution for both passengers and airlines. Your engagement and feedback will be invaluable as we continue to fine-tune and enhance the process. Next slide, please. The agency is currently in the process of preparing current cases for resolution in the new framework. The passengers who have previously submitted complaints to the agency must be informed of the new process and the legislative changes that are being implemented. To ensure the thoroughness of the resolution process, passengers will be given the opportunity to update their existing complaint files. This also gives passengers the chance to provide any additional evidence that might enhance the understanding of their cases. We will also be providing passengers an opportunity to withdraw. Similarly, airlines can opt to resolve complaints directly with passengers. After passengers have had the opportunity to update their complaint files, the agency will proceed by issuing a start notice to the respective airlines involved in these complaints. Airlines will then be given an opportunity to file an answer and provide any supporting documents. Next slide, please. The automated intake form, serves as the platform through which passengers can conveniently submit a complaint on the agency's official website. Over time, this form has undergone several updates, each aimed at enhancing its functionality and the user experience. In July 2023, a significant update was rolled out for the agency's air travel complaint form, marking one of the most substantial changes to date. This revamp is designed to assist passengers in providing the necessary information for their complaints. Additionally, it enhances user-friendliness by providing guidance to ensure that submitted cases meet eligibility criteria and that they are complete. It serves as an educational tool, clarifying which complaints the agency can assist with and which we cannot. Additionally, it captures more comprehensive information from passengers, thereby facilitating a more efficient complaints review process. The new form will be further updated to incorporate the new legislative requirements set to take effect on September 30th, 2023. If you'd like to view the new web form, it can be accessed on the agency's website. The URL appears on the slide. Next slide, please. The agency is introducing an e-services portal, a secure and convenient platform that both airlines and passengers are required to use for managing their complaints. This includes functionalities such as document uploading and updating positions related to the complaints. The new e-services portal offers numerous advantages to airlines. Upon registration and activation of your account, this portal will provide secure access to air travel complaints associated with the airline you represent. And here's what you can expect. Effortless access. So once signed up and activated, you can seamlessly access air travel complaints linked to your airline through the portal. Document visibility. Relevant supporting documents pertaining to each case are easily accessible for your review. Status tracking. You'll be able to view the statuses of complaints and cases requiring your attention. And position updates. You'll be able to directly upload positions and supporting documents or your response securely, ensuring an efficient mode of communication. Mediation engagement. You'll be able to indicate your interest in agency-assisted mediation right within the portal. And informed responses. You'll have the advantage of viewing the passenger's reply to your response, allowing you to tailor your actions accordingly. Mediation package access. In cases that proceed to the agency-assisted mediation, a mediation package is provided, and you'll be able to access it via the portal once it's been prepared by the resolution officer. And lastly, transparent outcomes. At the case's conclusion, you can conveniently view and download the order or decision made. The e-services portal is meant to streamline the entire process, from accessing information to active participation and informed decision-making. It empowers airlines to engage effectively with the resolution process while ensuring secure data management. Next slide, please. The process for gaining access to the e-services portal is designed to be straightforward and secure. To initiate the process, we require the email address of the individuals who will need access to the portal. This ensures that the right people are granted access. We recommend that the provided email address is not a generic address, but rather one tied to a specific individual. Next, once your email address has been accepted into the system, you'll receive an email inviting you to create a secure account. After creating and confirming your account, an additional layer of security is implemented, and you will be prompted to download and enable a multi-factor authentication system on a smartphone. Once the username, password, and authenticator are successfully entered, you will be granted access to your personalized dashboard and homepage. This interface serves as your central hub, enabling you to effectively navigate and engage with the portal's functionalities. These steps are meant to ensure that your entry into the e-services portal is secure, personalized, and user-friendly. Next slide, please. So in terms of next steps, as previously mentioned, it's going to be important for us to compile a list of individuals who require access to the portal from each airline. To facilitate this, we ask that you kindly send the required details, names, and email addresses to the following email that appears on the slide. So that's dgrd.transition-support.drb@otc-cta.gc.ca. And we'd ask that this information be submitted by September 15th. Once the information is received, the onboarding process for airlines will kick off throughout the fall and winter months. When your airline is scheduled for onboarding, you can expect to receive an email from the agency. This communication will include a comprehensive Getting Started guide, as well as a detailed user guide. These resources have been designed to support you in navigating and using the portal effectively. We're committed to ensuring your transition into the portal is as smooth as possible, that it's well-informed and tailored to meet your needs. Your engagement and participation are very important as we collectively embark on this journey of enhanced air travel complaint management. So this is the end of the presentation. I'd like to again thank everyone on the call today for your participation and attendance. We're really happy that you took the time to join us, and I'll now give the floor back to our moderator, Judy, for the question period, which will be led by my colleague, Paul Kelly. Thank you very much.